Today, we discuss the return of 3 episodes that were thought to be junked, Barbara and Ian's forgotten cameo, and John Wiles' nefarious plot to destroy Bill Hartnell once and for all. Our 7th missing serial is the Daleks Master Plan. The Daleks, with the assistance of Marvick Chen, the guardian of the solar system, work on the creation of the Time Destructor, a device that can reverse or accelerate time to disastrous effect. Sadly, only episodes 2, 5, and 10 exist of this 12-part epic. What does exist? The best surviving audio of the Daleks Master Plan are David Holman and Graham Strong's recordings. Strong's episodes of 8, 9, and 12 are considered the best, whereas Holman's recordings of the other episodes are considered higher. Although, on the 1st of January 2019, Robert Wynn donated a bunch of new audio recordings to Kaleidoscope, which are labelled the Randolph audio tapes. Mark Aries, an audio expert that's responsible for the majority of the Doctor Who audio remastering, has said that these recordings contain the reprises and the cliffhangers that were missing from the Strong tapes. Yet, the Strong tapes are sometimes superior to the Randolph tapes. Episodes 5 and 10 have been held in the archive since 1983, and episode 2 was returned in 2004. A high-quality 35mm mute film reel of 4 inserts from episode 1 exists, which was found in 1991. Another 35mm reel from episode 2 exists, was returned in 1993 after it mysteriously disappeared. Although episode 2 was returned, the 35mm footage is a higher quality than the 16mm final episode. Episode 3 has a 98-second sequence that exists, due to the clip being broadcast during a 1971 episode of Blue Peter. Episode 4 also contains a 58-second clip, also thanks to Blue Peter, but don't get too excited to thank Blue Peter yet, because episode 4 was loaned to them in 1973 and was never returned. Sadly, no tele-snaps exist of this story, but 20 off-screen photos exist of episode 7, which were photographed by Robert Jewell, who appeared in the episode as a clown. The Daleks Master Plan was only sold internationally once, and that was to Australia. Australia never aired the Daleks Master Plan and was considered to be junked, or returned to the BBC. Episode 7, The Feast of Stephen, was not included in this shipment. The BBC's tape of this was wiped, meaning that this episode has no chance of returning. Episodes 5 and 10 were recovered in 1983 by Steve Bryant. Episode 2 was recovered in 2004 by Francis Watson. These prints could possibly have been sourced from the Australian copies, but could also have been the original BBC copies themselves. If they are the Australian copies, it means that these episodes could still be out there, but don't hold your breath. It's starting to get tough for Bill Hartnell, and even tougher for everyone else. John Wiles and Bill Hartnell's relationship continues to worsen. Wiles was becoming increasingly annoyed at Bill's deviations from the script, and it doesn't help that there was a short strike by the crew after Hartnell had a significant argument with his dresser. After trying to replace Bill with another actor was disapproved by the higher-ups, Wiles and the script editor, Donald Tosh, handed in their resignations. The reins were handed over to Innes Lloyd. So, how can you watch the Daleks Master Plan? As of this video, the Daleks Master Plan has not been officially animated. The surviving episodes are available via the Lost in Time box set. The Daleks Master Plan reconstruction by Loose Cannon is incredibly impressive due to its large amount of episodes and lack of any surviving tele-snaps. They list it as LC20. An audio narration was done by Peter Purvis and released in 2001 and re-released in 2011, and is to be released alongside The Mission to the Unknown on vinyl in 2019. The Daleks Master Plan novelization is split in 2, Mission to the Unknown and The Mutation of Time, both released in 1989. Let's talk fan recordings. Doctor Who has had a loyal fan base from episode 1. Thanks to them, we have not only surviving audios of a high quality, but we also have off-air video recordings and off-air photographs. We mentioned recently about the off-air photos from the Daleks Master Plan episode 7, Feast of Stephen. These were not tele-snaps made by John Cura, they were photographed by actor Robert Jewell himself. Other situations where we have off-air photos are from Marco Polo and The Evil of the Daleks, which have been discussed in their retrospective sections of this series. During the 60s, 8mm film cameras were a common household item. Carol Ann Ford brought hers along to the rehearsal of her final studio day, which can be seen in its entirety on the DVD of The Dalek Invasion of Earth. Other stories to have behind-the-scenes recordings are from The Smugglers, The Evil of the Daleks, The Abominable Snowman, and Fury from the Deep. More details on these clips are found in their sections of this series. More importantly to this video, fans used their 8mm cameras to film segments of Doctor Who on its live broadcast. This was done mainly by one unknown Australian fan. The clips are generally quite short, only a few seconds. It's assumed they were recorded on reruns, due to many of the clips being of important moments. Serials with the surviving clips include The Reign of Terror 4 and 5, Galaxy 4 1, The Mythmakers 1, 2 and 4, The Savages 3 and 4, The 10th Planet 4, The Power of the Daleks 1 and 2, The Massacre Terror 3, and The Faceless Ones 3. Our 8th missing serial is The Massacre. The Doctor and Stephen land in Paris in 1572, where the two separate. Unfortunately for Stephen, he finds himself in the middle of a Huguenot plot to assassinate the Catholic Queen Mother. The Doctor can't change history, but Stephen disagrees. Sadly, all 4 episodes are missing from the archive. So, what does exist? The Graham Strong tapes are believed to be the most superior recording of the Massacre to date, yet with the Randolph tape discovery, that could change. Although, the quality of Randolph's recordings have not been documented as of yet. Recordings were also made by David Holman and Richard Landon. Sadly, no tele-snaps or surviving clips exist of this story. This serial is also famous for not having any photographs of William Hartnell's costume where he plays the Abbot. Composites are used in the loose cannon reconstruction. In recent years, more photographs of the massacre has been found. For the opening title's captions, a background plate was used. In this set photo, we can see the camera being used to capture this moment. It's an interesting look back on how this effect would have been achieved back then, when it's so simple to do nowadays. 3 prints of the massacre were created. The Australian copy was junked by the ABC, and Sierra Leone returned their copy to the BBC. Singapore's fate is unknown, but more likely junked or returned to the BBC. The ending of the massacre was supposed to end slightly different. In the final moments of the massacre episode 4, it showed Dodo Chaplet mistaking the TARDIS for a real police box. In the original ending, it was intended for Barbara and Ian to make a cameo appearance seeing the TARDIS disappear. Sadly, that didn't come to pass and was replaced by a woman walking her dog. So, how can you view the massacre today? As of this video, there has been no official animation of the massacre. Loose Cannon have done 2 reconstructions of the story, LC16 and the brilliant LC40. The audio narration was released in 1999, narrated by Peter Purvis, and was re-released in 2003 and 2011. It was novelised as The Massacre in 1987. Our 9th missing serial is The Celestial Toymaker. The Doctor, Dodo, and Stephen find themselves in another dimension, a dimension filled with games. And if you lose, you will stay the Toymaker's prisoner for all of eternity. Fortunately, episode 4 still exists, the other 3 are missing. So, what still exists? David Holman's recordings are considered the highest quality. Richard Landon also has recordings. Interestingly enough, the recording of the final test, which is episode 4, on the Randolph tapes, includes an audio apology to the Frank Bridges estate, who claimed the character of Cyril made a striking resemblance to their character, Billy Bunter. This is yet to be released to the public. Episode 4 exists in the archive, where it was returned by ABC Australia, yet the reel was originally from Singapore. Sadly, no tele-snaps or clips exist of the missing episodes. 3 prints were made of the Celestial Toymaker. Australia junked their copy, Sierra Leone returned theirs to the BBC, and Singapore's copy is still out there, but most likely junked. The Celestial Toymaker's game almost got rid of the Doctor. The original goal of the trilogic game was to essentially remove William Hartnell and replace him with another actor, due to his contract expiring by the end of episode 4. This, as stated earlier, did not come to pass, and that is why John Wiles handed in his resignation. If it did happen, the next story would have had Dodo and Stephen being unsure if this was still the Doctor, or a game played by the Celestial Toymaker. This was essentially done in The Power of the Daleks with Polly and Ben. In episode 1, clips from the Daleks Master Plan and the Massacre are featured in the robot's monitor, so if that episode returned, we could possibly gain 2 new clips. So, What's the best way of watching the Celestial Toymaker? As of this video, the Celestial Toymaker has not been officially animated, which makes it a difficult story to view due to its reliance on imagery and action. Episode 4 can be seen on the Lost in Time box set. Loose Cannon have reconstructed this story twice, LC08 and the updated version LC36. An audio narration was released in 2001, read by Peter Purvis, and released in 2011. It was novelized as The Celestial Toymaker in 1986. Which one of these stories would you like to see return to the archive most? Join us next episode as we read the Vitality reading of the Savages, shiver the timbers of the Smugglers, and say goodbye to the First Doctor in the 10th Planet. Follow me on Twitter or subscribe to my channel for more Doctor Who content.